fair enough. Okay, fair enough. So, question was about. Well, first of all, I don't know how to break this to you delicately, but we're in England, so we have to like say everything like super like circumlocutoratory, right?
If they've made it here, then they kind of are up for it, I think.
They're up for it, are they?
Yeah,
Oh,
I reckon, yeah.
they're they're game for a bit of northern directness, are they?
No, it's just you're not known for the circuitry.
Sure, yeah. So when you talk about concentration, right, so concentration is sort of a classical word for translating samadhi, but for myself and I think most people in certainly students of Ajahn Brahman, I'm not sure how widespread this is, but we don't really use the word concentration for samadhi anymore. So why not? Well, concentration is what you do when you have to make yourself pay attention to something that is inherently boring. Right? You're sitting at the back of the class and you're dozing off and messing around and the teacher says, concentrate, right? Because it's actually really boring. Dave, do you have any kids?
Yeah, 2 kids.
How old are they?
17 and 15.
17 and 15. They play video games?
Yeah.
Have you ever had to tell them to concentrate on their video games?
No.
They seem to manage to do that all by themselves. Yeah. How are your kids doing, by the way?
Good.
They're doing okay? Yeah, okay, good. So, yeah, when something draws us in, then it's not so much concentrating, right? So Ajahn Brahma usually uses stillness for samadhi, or I usually use immersion, as in that particular sutta. Mind becomes immersed in samadhi. And something like that. So we're trying to look for something which is gentler. It's very hard actually to find an English word that really correlates with the word samadhi. I had this experience when I finished doing my translations. I spent 3 years on an island translating suttas, and samadhi was one of the hardest words to translate, and because there really isn't an English word for it. And shortly afterwards, I got back from my little island, staying on the Chimay Island, the island of the Seven Maidens off the coast of Taiwan. Then I arrived in Australia. Ajahn Brahm basically was invited to this conference and he gave me a ticket. He said, why don't you go instead, because he couldn't be bothered, I don't think. So anyway, so I went to this conference and I was sitting at the conference. They sat me next to this Aboriginal lady, Susan Moylan Coombs. We really hit it off. We had a really good conversation about many things, but one of the things she said that there's words in Aboriginal languages that we don't have any word for in English. Because as a professional translator, I'm like, yeah, sure. I can translate anything, mate, okay? So don't come at me with that stuff, right? You know, give me something and I'll translate it. And she said, okay, we have a word, kabarananga, which means like a still, clear state of natural peace of mind. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right, actually, yeah, we don't have a word for that in English. But we do have a word for it in Pali, yeah? So we can translate samadhi into, I'm not sure, I can't remember which Aboriginal language that is, as Kabrananga, but we can't do it into English. So anyway, so that's just on samadhi. So in terms of samatha, you're talking about samatha and vipassana, we usually translate samatha as serenity. So samatha and samadhi are 2 different words, right? Basically have a similar meaning, but in that context it's usually samatha and vipassana is like tranquility or serenity and insight. Okay, what was the question again? Oh, do you have to go on again?
Well, what's the relation? Do you get into a concentrated state to do vipassana, or
Right.
do you do vipassana without having any concentration beforehand? Or what's the relationship between the two? Is there a relationship between the two?
Is there a relationship between the two? Yeah, they help each other. That's the basic relationship between the two. So the more insight you have, the more wisdom you have, then the more that leads you to letting go, and then that leads you to becoming peaceful. And the more peace of mind you have, then the more clarity you have, and then that leads you to see things as they really are. Now the normal way that the Buddha taught these in the suttas is the way that we saw in that sutta just now, where your mind becomes blissful, it becomes tranquil, enters into samadhi, and then after you emerge from samadhi, you see things as they truly are, which is the insight. So that's the kind of the normal sequence: sila, samadhi, panya, ethics, meditation, and wisdom. But it's not absolute, and it's not ever meant as an absolute, because we are training ourselves for wisdom from the beginning, and all meditation has a dimension of wisdom as well. So when we did the mindfulness of breathing exercise a little bit earlier, right at the end of that meditation, I asked you to check back and reflect on how the meditation evolved and changed. So that's like looking into cause and effect. So that's kind of on that side of insight, right? To try to understand cause and effect in terms of just that meditation that we've had. So even in that, that's just a very simple practice, right? It's a good habit to get into. But that's already teaching us to look at things in terms of cause and effect. So actually we should be developing both samatha and vipassana from the beginning. Yeah.
Can I ask another question, man? Sorry.
Go on, Dave. The silence is killing me. Go on.
You talked about, I find when I meditate, I do get bored sometimes.
Right.
And I find that difficult to sort of go through on the retreat or something like that. And I've never, I was wondering on your thoughts on how to overcome boredom in meditation.
Well, it's kind of funny, isn't it? Like boredom's one of those things. Like like we want to fill our life with things that are stimulating and interesting, because we're often very afraid of being bored. And it's one of the things that tech has given us is the ability to be distracted whenever we want with shiny things. And the experience of boredom is kind of, I don't know, it seems to have been fundamentally reshaped, I think. Like, I don't know when you were growing up, but when I was growing up, it was normal to be bored a lot of the time, because there was nothing interesting on the telly, and there was nothing happening, and all you got to do was to kick a football around or something like that, and that was it. And like having boredom in your life is a stimulus for creativity, because your mind, like the boredom creates a tension, and then that tension resolves itself through imagination and creativity and play. And I think it's a real shame that we don't get bored as much as we used to. I think we kind of lost part of ourselves when we forgot how to be bored, and we think that there's something wrong with being bored. And what we have today, I think, is like we've because we haven't got like basic boredom. Now we have like meta boredom. We have like a boredom on top of everything. So we're constantly distracted, and yet we're bored with all the distractions. And so there's no actual sense of meaning in any of it. It's just like another dopamine hit, another scroll, another this, another that. And so we're kind of existentially bored rather than emotionally bored. And I think that's again a great problem. And because we've become, I think, existentially bored, we've also become existentially incapable of imagination. And we can't imagine a better world. And we've forgotten, I think, how to imagine even a decent world, or one that we might be able to live in. And our capacity to actually imagine a better world in the future, I think, has really collapsed. I remember growing up, and I'd read all of these science fiction books and things like that, and there seemed to be like a future that was so amazing, so many possibilities, so many things we could do. And now they've built all that stuff, and it's terrible. And it's really boring. It's weird, isn't it? I find it weird. When the dreams become reality, then they turn into just machines, and they're not dreams anymore. Anyway, so it's just kind of a bit of a rambling way of saying, don't worry too much about being bored. It's all right, actually. Yeah. It's a skill to remind ourselves and to just be with it. If we get bored in meditation and we think that it's wrong to be bored, we think that actually being bored is a sign that we're doing something wrong, then we're going to be looking for some way to fix being bored. And when we're looking for some way to fix it, then we're just being more restless. So just accept being bored. It's okay. It's normal. Yeah. Funny thing is, though, that when you accept being bored, then the mind sort of gradually opens up a little bit. And in the boredom, then there comes the contentment. Yeah? And in that contentment, it can actually be quite nice. I always remember when one time I was traveling around India. So is that right? You were going to India? Who was going to India? Was it you? No.
Lived in India.
No, you lived in India, but you're not doing a tour in India. So who was it that was doing a tour in India? Anyway, maybe it was Brahmali. I think maybe Venerable Wimala was doing one.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's right.
my mind is like a blender right now. I've been to so many people places, but I think it was Venerable Wimala, right?
Yeah.
They're doing a trip to India.
November time.
Yeah. So anybody wants to do a pilgrimage to India, contact Samita and Venerable Wimala, and it'll be great actually, because they're like really knowledgeable and they'll really sort of look after people on that trip. Anyway, so at one time we were on this trip and we get stuck in a traffic jam. Fair enough. Everyone knows what it's like to be stuck in a traffic jam. Except in India, the traffic jam's like literally in the middle of the countryside. And there's nothing on the horizon except a line of trucks until the horizon. And you'll know that there's like a camel train or something like that that's crossing the road up ahead, miles ahead, and then there's just trucks going into the horizon. So what do? Get out of the trucks, light a fire, boil some water, make some chai, cook up some chapatis. Everyone was happy. Just sit there for an hour or two, nothing's moving, none of the trucks are moving, everyone's fine. So boredom is actually not boredom is not something that we should try to get rid of or to solve, but it's something which is an open space that creates a possibility and a creative potential. So what should you do with boredom in your meditation? Just wait.
Observe it.
Just wait. Don't even just observe it, just wait. Just let it be. And then eventually something will come up on the other side. So the actual, technically, as I mentioned before in the discussion of the sutta, technically the solution or the antidote to boredom is piti or rapture. Because piti is like that sense of emotional excitement. So boredom is a sense of kind of emotional disaffect from what you're experiencing. And rapture is a sense of emotional excitement, uplift, ooh, yeah. And so rapture is the one that will overcome that boredom. But don't be like, you don't have to be like sort of rushing to say, oh, how can I, make myself feel rapture or something like that. Just be patient, be calm, wait. Boredom's all right. Oh, okay. Think of it as a life skill. You're going to spend a significant amount of your time waiting in lines or sitting outside the kids' school waiting for them to finish playing sport or whatever it is. So it's a skill to learn. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm wondering about something you mentioned early on today, and it's something I wonder about a lot.
Yes.
Is the idea that the mind can be peaceful and get to these elevated states despite discomfort and pain and such in the body.
Right.
And on one level I can see that works with at least coarse things in the body, like an acute pain.
Okay.
You can make peace with that and the mind can be unaffected by it. But my experience in meditation has always been, for years and years, that the condition of my physical body and my physical health has been the main determiner for how much peace I get in the mind. So I'm wondering if you have any more comments on that or any advice how to get a bit more in the direction of, I don't know, separation of mind and body is the right way to say it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say separation of mind and body. But anyway, yeah, I understand what you're saying. So in that particular sutta, the quality of passaddhi, right? So remember we had joy, and then rapture, and then passaddhi, and then sukha. So passaddhi is tranquility. And passaddhi is typically divided into two kinds, kaya passaddhi and chitta passaddhi, physical tranquility and mental tranquility. And so the Buddha talked about the opposite of that, which is kaya dukkhala, which is like a disturbance in the body, physical disturbance or something. So that's what happens when you get like the energy is upset in the body and all of those kinds of things. And so yeah, obviously if you're feeling unwell or if your body's unbalanced or whatever, then you have that kaya dukkhala, which will stop you from having that tranquility. So that's a bit different from just the sort of experience of pain in your legs or pain in your knees when you're sitting in meditation, which is kind of, it's not quite what that kaya dukkhala means, although it can kind of provoke it, right? So you can have a feeling of that tension in your body because of the painful feeling. But that's more about your emotional reaction to that painful feeling. It's also possible to let go of it. So, but if there's a kind of illness or distress or disturbance in your body, then meditation can help to tranquilize that, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't use other things to tranquilize it as well, right? You want to do some yoga or have a bath or whatever it takes to calm yourself down, then that can be helpful as well. Yeah. Yeah. How's it going?
I'm here.
You're here? What's your name?
Karina.
Karina.
Yeah.
How's your bear?
Oh, Ajahn Bear is great.
Okay, good.
Helps me with metta. So I enjoyed meditating in the morning, and I've noticed that gives me energy for the rest of the day. And that was all good and dandy until I changed my job, when I had to be somewhere on time. And I've noticed, like, when I know that something is there in front of me, waiting for me, like I have to get up by this time, leave the house by this time, be in the office by this time. I'm so anxious I can't meditate. So I kind of switch to the evening. The thing is then, awaken. Oh, well, not awaken, but I'm very well awake. And I can't sleep. So it's so it's kind of became the vicious circle in a sense. Because I need my sleep, I need my meditation in the morning, which doesn't happen at the moment, because I get too anxious. So, yeah, and I haven't found anything that helps me to not be anxious when I meditate in the morning and still kind of be on time. Yeah, so I would welcome it.
Mind is tricky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you mind if I ask, what kind of work are you doing?
At the moment I work at the university.
And doing what?
I'm an academic coach.
Academic coach. Tell me, what does that mean?
I'm trying to figure it out myself yet, but
Yeah.
no, I'm from a positive psychology background, and I'm
Okay.
just helping international students to kind of settle into
Okay.
UK universities.
Okay. Oh, well, thank you so much for doing that. That's an awesome job. You're really helping people along with their lives and helping them to learn what they need to learn. So that's really good. That's really good kind of right livelihood. We were in London a few days ago, we went to the V&A Museum and we were very kindly shown around because they have a Buddhist section there. So we were kindly shown around by the curator of the Buddhist section in the V&A Museum. And we asked him, what does a curator do? And he just laughed and said, he curates. But what is it to curate? It's what a curator does. So So he was kind of trying to figure out exactly what that job is. So I think that that's not an unusual kind of
Changes
situation.
every day, actually.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. But that's good.
But I did that today, so
Okay.
it's just one of those.
All right. Okay, so you said that if you meditate at night time, then you can't go to sleep. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm just basically awake, and I think my mind is just like, yeah, let's go.
You're
Yeah,
wired.
so-
Excellent. That's awesome.
Yeah, but that's at night. And as I said, like when I was working at home in a different job, when I could just start and finish whatever I want, working to the middle of the night and no one cared, that's fine. I was absolutely fine with that, and I went with my meditation whenever it felt like a right time to meditate.
Right.
Whereas at the moment, it's like I know I have to be like out by 7, so I was trying to wake up like an hour earlier than normally.
Right.
But then in my mind it's like, I can't meditate, I need to be out. What time is it? And it's just, so obviously I got myself knackered by the time I left home, and then the whole day I was like half asleep. So I stopped, because obviously I need to be alert.
Yeah, I understand. But I'm kind of interested as to why your mind is like makes you so wide awake at night. Like a lot of people will meditate, and then once you finish your meditation, you feel sort of quite peaceful and a bit sleepy, and then you go to sleep quite easily. So if you're wide awake, I think that's good. It's just like you have to go to work and stuff, which I understand that. But it's good. It's good that you feel awake, though. Yeah.
Yeah, but then I've noticed like what you mentioned, like having a bath and relax.
Yeah.
Usually people do that and it sends them to sleep.
Yeah.
I get excited and awake after
Really?
So that's the thing. So I just kind of
Nicely,
said I'm
nice.
just one of those weirdos that everyone
Maybe you
just
should be
goes
like-
in a different way.
So maybe before you go to bed, you play like a hyper-violent video game or something like that, and then that could maybe put you off to sleep. I'm not suggesting that necessarily, but it'd be an interesting experiment.
Yeah. I mean, I do find my ways to kind of go to sleep. It's just like I think I missed that morning meditation.
Yeah, no, I understand.
When I know
Yeah.
that would carry me for majority of the day without second coffee. That makes sense.
That's okay. So you have to leave the house at 7 o'clock in the morning. Is that right? And then before that you have like breakfast and stuff like that, or so have you tried like getting up, doing all the things you need to do, breakfast, getting dressed, all of that stuff, and then meditating?
No, but
No, but.
yeah, there's because I'm kind of quite stubborn, and I'm trying to find my ways around it. So let's say when I was waiting for my coffee to be made or my porridge to be cooked, I would do the metta chanting, the Karaniya metta chanting. So that was kind of like or on my way to work, I actually listened to Buddhist talks. So my morning's kind of, not exactly meditative. I don't meditate as I drive, but I listen to.
Thank you. On behalf of all of the other drivers, thank you. Yeah.
I just put a Buddhist talk or Q&A,
Sure.
and so this is kind of, let's say, my fix of Buddhism for the morning. I just feel like I need something in the morning, but I can't just sit and meditate at home, because like my mind is like, no, you have to leave.
But you haven't tried like preparing everything and then meditating and then leaving?
No, because I still know that I have to leave.
You sure?
Yeah, but I will try.
Well, just a suggestion. Why don't you try just doing 5 minutes? Get everything ready, and then just sit and meditate for 5 minutes. And you've got your alarm set. You're going to be out the door at 7 o'clock. You're not going to be late. And just when you sit down to meditate, just tell yourself, my alarm is set. I'm going to be out the door on time. Everything's ready. I'm not going to be late. And I'm just going to sit for 5 minutes. And then do that until you're comfortable doing that. And maybe after doing that for a week or two, you'll be like, hey, I feel fine. So you can try doing a bit longer.
Okay. I did not think about having 5 minutes.
Right?
Well, hence my questions, right?
Yeah. So a lot of people, we get we come on retreat and you sit meditation for an hour or something like that, and you get conditioned to this idea that you think, oh, you have to sit meditation for such a long period. And there's no reason why, if you sit for a few minutes is okay. You sit for 20 minutes is good. Sit for an hour is fine. Sit for 5 minutes is okay. Yeah.
I think like because obviously there's then science into meditation and this is something I have to be very, very careful because like I'm very interested into like a mind from the scientific point of view.
Okay.
And it's like, and obviously like having read a lot of things and when you're saying, well actually you need to, in order to feel any difference, you need to sit for at least 20 minutes because this is like, you know, things happening in your brain.
That's science, isn't it?
I know. But I mean, I'm kind of, okay, that's fine, but I'm happy with 5 minutes as well.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or I would say someone just take one mindful breath.
Right?
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Maybe I just...
You could do it that way, actually. You could sit there and you can say, okay, today I'm going to sit here and do one breath. Fine, go off. And then tomorrow, 2 breaths.
Yeah.
And then 3, you're home and hosed, mate. Done and dusted. I think you wanted to say something before?
Well, I was just wondering if you could just get up earlier.
No, but this is what I used to do.
It's not the time, it's the anxiety.
It's the
But what's wrong
anxiety.
with meditating with anxiety?
I don't know, but I think that it just does not set me right for my day.
Only
It
because
just really
is that
drains
not
energy.
yeah? But is that not only because you haven't learned to make peace with anxiety?
I don't know, maybe I will ask myself that question in my next sitting. I will invite my anxiety.
Because it won't last, right? If you learn how to make peace with the anxiety, like Bhante says, maybe try a few minutes at a time and just learn to be with it and just calm yourself down, maybe with some words of kindness or reassurance. You know, this is only anxiety, it's not going to hurt me. Can I learn to be kind to this?
Yeah.
And just bit by bit, when you realise the anxiety, it's only a feeling. It doesn't mean anything's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
So over time, you'll actually be able to embrace that anxiety, and you will fit, because it might be the anxiety that's draining you rather than the meditating with anxiety.
Probably. Who knows? I'll try this idea of like flipping it on its head then, because they are doing it other way around. And see what's going to happen. I'm happy to try things. Thank you.
No worries. Interesting though. Interesting. Everyone has very different experiences in their meditation. I had one student in Malaysia who used to come to offer the meal and stuff like that. This is one of Hasapanya's sisters, and she was very quiet. Like Hasapanya was always the questiony one and the talky one. She'd do the translating and so on. And then one of her sisters, the older sister, was very quiet. And she, one day she had a question for me. She said when she goes to bed at night, she lies down and she watches her breath. And then when she watches her breath, her mind becomes very, very peaceful and still. And then this bright light appears in her mind and fills her mind. And everything is just like brightness in the mind. And she just lies there the entire night with her mind filled with brightness and light, and then just gets up in the morning and doesn't sleep. She said, "Is that all right?" Like, I said, "Do you feel tired?" She said, "No, I feel fine." I said, "I think it's okay." Yes.
I just had a suggestion for your question. Could you go to work early and meditate there?
That's another idea, yeah.
I think what I do during the day though, I try to have like mindful moments, and I always like 11:30 I've got my timer set up on my phone, and I've got 2 questions that pop up, like how do I feel and what do I need. So I do that. I think I will try that. I will actually, and see what's going to happen apart from that moment of mindfulness. Thank you.
I think I sort of can relate to your experience, like switching gears. I don't know, maybe it's the type of jobs, but some jobs need you to be slightly like wired. So if you feel like if I relax, then I can't perform and apply myself to the tasks at hand, and like I could relate to that as well, that I needed to be not too relaxed actually. I need to switch gears. Yeah.
Sorry? Would you like some water, Bhante?
Oh, I'm good. Oh, sure, if you got it.
You're all very quiet today. It's amazing. Is it because, I don't know, you're so peaceful? Don't have any doubts? Can I ask a question to people here? Oh, someone has a question.
I think she beat you. I think no. I think
No, ask.
yeah, she beat you.
Can I ask you what you have in your hand? Board, maybe?
What do I have in my pocket?
Precious.
My precious. My precious. Do you want to say?
It's called like a dog. Huh?
It's called a dog.
Yeah, like with dog. Dalmatian.
Dalmatian.
Yeah, something like this. Yeah. You know?
Sorry, is this? You're saying the stone is called a Dalmatian?
I think so.
The stone is called a Dalmatian, is it?
I think so.
Oh, I didn't know that. I never thought of that, but it makes sense. You're Polish, right? That stone's Polish.
Really?
Yes.
From Krakow.
Not from Krakow. No, from the coast.
Mm.
Yeah.
By the sea.
Yeah. Thank you. When I do meditation, sometimes I do an ice-breaking exercise where I get people come into the meditation room and I get people to give something to each other. Probably a few of you have been around when I've done that. And so one time I got this from this lady in Poland. I gave her something really dumb like a pen or a box of tissues or something. And then she gave me this really nice stone. So this is good. So ever since I was a kid, I always just fiddled with things with my hands. So I always just pick things up and just kind of play with them in my hands. So when I'm doing Dhamma talks, I usually do that. And so rather than just finding some random thing, I just bring this stone with me so I can play with that. Yeah.
Is that to help you focus? Because some of these people with ADHD and people with ADHD and things like that, they have to do something with their hands to focus. So
Yeah.
I suppose it's like helps you to focus. Is that what it is?
I don't know. I've just done it my whole life.
Could be a distraction.
This is why you didn't ask questions. You're all sussing out Bhante Sujato.
Gee.
Actually, you use your brain a lot, like you translate things and you also meditate. I just wonder how you do it, because it feels like when I'm like reading and doing things like that, it's using a different like part of my brain. Like, and when I'm meditating, they're two different things, but I might be wrong.
Might you?
Just doing it wrong. So I'm like, do you experience this thing where you have to switch gears yourself, and how do you do it so well if you do?
Yeah, I think, okay, so meditation, of course, is chitta bhavana, which means the development of the mind, right? And so that means when we're developing our mind, we have to develop all parts of our mind. And so obviously this is different for different people and different personalities, so it's not like there's one way of doing that for everyone. But all of the different parts of our mind are there as potentials and as capacities which help us to understand the Dhamma, help us to let go, help us to realize the truth. And so we shouldn't think of any faculty or capacity of our mind as being something which is inherently good or bad, but it's something that can be developed towards realizing the Dhamma. So for myself, I've always found that like studying, reading suttas has been always like really inspiring. And I don't really kind of feel that I've never actually felt that as a sort of conflict or anything like that. And one time when I was in Thailand for the Rains Retreat, and I was staying in a little monastery called Pujamkom, which means a little bitty mountain. And I was walking from that monastery. There's like a hall near the village, meditation hall, and then you walk for like an hour up to the top of the hill in the national park to go back to your little kuti. And so it's like the perfect place to go for seclusion and meditation. It's like my favorite place, really. It's such a beautiful place. Anyway, so this one time, I'm walking back up from the hall towards the beginning of the Rains Retreat, and back up from the hall up to the mountain. I tripped over a root on the path, staggered a couple of times, and I tore the meniscus in my leg. And so here I was on this path, halfway up this mountain. Couldn't walk back, couldn't walk up, couldn't do anything. All I could do was wait. And I knew that there was another monk who was down in the hall, and he was going to be coming up. So I thought, he'll be up soon, and he can help me back down. And unfortunately, he decided to do sewing some robes that day. So no one came. And then one of the monks from the local village came by, and just going for a walk. And I said, "Chue dui," which I was really happy with that, because "Chue dui" is a phrase in Thai that means help. And I learnt this in my Thai phrase book, and I'd never been able to use it, and now I could use it. I'm like, oh, cool, now I know how to say help in Thai. "Chue dui." So now you know, if you're ever in Thailand, "Chue dui." And he came over and I explained, look, I can't walk. This monk was like really short, really small, so he couldn't really help me to carry. So I said, look, there's a friend of mine down in the hall. Can you go down and just tell him that I'm here and get him to come and help me down? He said, sure. So he went off and no one came. I was just waiting there. Crikey, what am I going to do? Anyway, eventually I got this branch and made like a crutch out of this branch and then kind of limped down on this crutch back down to where I was. And I found this other monk down there. I said, why didn't you come and help me? Didn't the Thai monk come and tell you? He said, oh yeah, he just said that there was this Western monk on the path up there. He said, so I didn't know what he meant, so I didn't come. So there you go. Anyway, so that Rains Retreat, I couldn't really go anywhere or do anything much, and I just sort of sat in the hall there and then meditated when I could and read some suttas and things like that. And look, it's no kind of big deal really, but I was really looking forward to being able to stay in my little hut in the hill and meditate and so on. Anyway, after the Rains Retreat, I went to Bangkok and I saw my teacher Ajahn Mahachachai, and he said, "Oh, how's your meditation going?" I said, "Well, not as good as it could be. I was in the, I couldn't really do walking meditation. I couldn't sit on the floor, and I couldn't do these things, and so but I was just reading some suttas and studying some suttas and things." And he said to me, Never look down on the opportunity to study the words of the Buddha. And if you have the opportunity to read what the Buddha was teaching, then this is one of the greatest blessings that life can ever give you. And so that's the teaching that I got from my teacher. And so, and if we look in the suttas, then that's also how the Buddha taught. The Buddha never saw learning the Dhamma as being something that is sort of contrary or contradictory to practicing meditation as well. So it's just a matter of finding that balance. If you're feeling that as a tension inside yourself, right, then I think that there's, how do I put this? I feel that a lot of that tension that people feel inside themselves about this issue is suggested tension. Like, I think a lot of issues that people have in meditation are issues that they have because people have told them that they're going to be an issue. And so then they experience, they're prepared to anticipate and experience that as an issue. So don't see it as an issue. When you have the opportunity to study the Dhamma or to read some suttas or listen to some Dhamma talk, then rejoice in that. And then when you've done that, then remind yourself, oh, that's really good, I've learned something. And then come to meditate and remind yourself, oh, my meditation, I'm now going to put into practice those things that I've learned. And then those things will always support each other. Yeah. So just as a balance, you know. So these days people know me because I translate suttas and things like that. But you know, just kind of put it into perspective. Like when I was a young monk, normally, you know, for all the years I was a young monk, I'd usually read one sutta a day. That's what I'd normally do. And maybe I'd like memorize suttas and so on as well, but mostly just studying one sutta a day. And when you're reading one sutta and read it a couple of times, reflect on it, let the meaning settle in, learn to understand it, and then doing a lot of meditation, and then you can remember things really well. Yeah. And even when I was doing my translations, you know, I stayed on Jime for three years, translated the four Nikayas. Most days I'd work about 6 hours a day, roughly. So it wasn't as if I was like just doing that. I had plenty of time for my practice as well. So when we study effectively. Don't waste our time doing, you know, lots of things that don't really matter or whatever. But just learn to study those things that really mean something, and to rejoice in that. And it's up to you to find that integration and that harmony between those things. Hmm? Okay.
Right.
How are we going? When are we're going to do some guided meditation? Is that right? Do you want to do that now? No, do you want to do it?
I was going to do it, but I kind of feel like it's special to have you here, Bhante, because these people might not get to sit with you again.
Have you ever considered that I might not get to do a guided meditation led by you again? Did that ever cross your mind?
It didn't, no.
No.
Well, it did a bit, actually.
Up to you. If you'd like to
But
do
I
one,
didn't
then you can do one. Otherwise, I'm happy to do one.
You can do one, Bhante.
All right, thank you.
You can see me on YouTube.
That's so sweet. Thank you. Okay, that's very good. So let's do another guided meditation. We'll do another guided mindfulness of breathing meditation, and I'm not going to say too much more than we just said last time, but just to remind ourselves that when we're doing this practice of meditation, that each time we practice is new. Each time we practice is different. It's unique. Nobody has ever done this meditation ever in the history of the world. Yeah? And so even though it becomes familiar, even though you can read so many books on it and all of those kinds of things, the reality is that your meditation is your meditation, and this meditation is completely unprecedented. You don't know what's going to happen, okay? Now maybe you're going to fly up into the air, right? Could happen. Sorry?
I said maybe.
Maybe. You see, with that kind of attitude, it's never going to happen, right? You can see? You see? You've got that kind of attitude. And
Running of the joke.
if you've got that attitude, has it ever happened? No. You see? Cause and effect, yeah. Okay, so who knows? It could be that you're going to sit here and meditate, and in this next 40 minutes that you're going to get enlightened. Half an hour, in this next half an hour, you're going to get enlightened.
Hurry up.
Huh? It could be, yeah? And you might think, oh, well, it's not going to happen. But do you think that any of the people who got enlightened while meditating thought, oh, I'm going to get enlightened now? Yeah? Let's go. So as we're sitting quietly and letting the mind settle into your body, and just feeling whatever it is that's going on inside your mind and body right now. And bring awareness to the gentle feeling of the breath as it comes in and the breath as it goes out. Mindfully breathing in, mindfully breathing out. Mindfully breathing in, mindfully breathing out. let your breath blow away all your desires. Let your breath blow away all your resentments. Let your breath blow away all your anxieties. Until there is nothing left. But you and the peaceful, soothing rhythm of your breath. Mindfully breathing in, mindfully breathing out, mindfully breathing in, mindfully breathing out. feeling that lightness inside your heart when the anxiety or stress fades away, and that natural state of peace emerges. With happiness and joy. The joy of nothing to do, nothing to be, to the end of the meditation. Let your mind come back to normal. And before we finish, just review what's happened. Just check what has the course of the meditation been. And finally, we can dedicate the merit of our practice. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings realize Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Is anyone online?
Oh.
23 are online. Hey, online.
Who is going to thank you? So I get the honours of thanking you for...
You can all do it if you like.
We can, yeah. we just did, but very half-heartedly. So shall we make 3 really big sadhus to generate joy and rejoice in the goodness we've created and developed during this day? And of course to thank Bhante. And maybe me too for being here.
Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. That's so cool. Wow, pretty good. And next month, perhaps, is it next month or in March, we have another day. So maybe that time we can make even bigger sadhus. So if you're lucky enough to live close by, or at least in the country, there's still a few places next month, March the 15th or 19th, I forget. And we're going to be having one a month, really, of these kind of half-day retreats. And hopefully we're also going to start having some busy bee days. So there'll be a little activity as well, like group kind of service. We get you to scrub the kitchen floor and the oven, basically, and whatever else we can get you to do. Because it's a wonderful way to bond by doing some ethical conduct together. So I'm looking forward to that. And also we have one more talk with Bhante before you leave, which is on Wednesday the 5th in London. If any of you are still around, please book. There's plenty of space, and that will be at Kagyu Samyezong, which is in Bermondsey in London. And it is called, I read on your Blue Sky today that you told your supporters, don't listen to Oz. The real title
Yes.
of that talk is The Buddha's Advice on Gambling, which we kind of tweaked to make something about finding peace in turbulent times. But it's the same thing. But we'll go with
Kind
Bhante's.
of tweaked.
Yeah, kind of tweaked. To include that title. But anyway, I'm offering it back to you, Bhante.
Kind of tweaks is the Buddha's words on gambling. That's kind of tweaked. Finding peace in turbulent time is something else entirely. But anyway, fine. I'm used to it.
No, I'm
I don't
giving
take
you
it
back
personally.
your title.
Thank you.
Yes. So you're entitled to your title.
So you took it from me,
Yes.
and now you give it back,
Right.
and I'm supposed to be grateful.
No. No, I'm not asking for gratitude.
But this is a good training for you as well.
In what way?
People are going to do this to you.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Ajahn Brahm, you just let me call the talks whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
You could just call it whatever.
Yes.
In fact, I
okay.
think I'll do that. I'm going to do exactly that.
You
Yeah.
could. You could call it whatever.
Yeah.
A talk on whatever happens to come to mind.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from the 5th. We also have a 2-hour online session with Ajahn Brahm and myself on the 15th of February. And we've already got 92 people and there's only about 8 more places. So, but anyway, we'll send reminders out. I think I'll just book you all in because there's always people who don't come on the day. And since you came today, just get there early and you'll get in. So that'll be fun. And we'll talk a bit more about the project and our upcoming kind of projects to build things like outdoor office space for me so I can get out of my so-called meditation space, get the office out of there and into another space where I can be undisturbed and come up with even more retreats for you. And what else? Sorry?
Outside in your little hut.
Yes, outside in my hut where I can't be disturbed. And what else have we got coming up?
I just had a great idea though.
What's that?
You should get the moles to dig you one. You could do an underground one and they
It
can
might
dig
take
you
a
one.
while. It might take a
Be
while.
good though, wouldn't
I
it?
don't know about that. Yeah, can we get electricity down there and
I don't know. I mean,
Wi-Fi? Could the moles install that as well?
yeah.
Some tech-savvy moles. Anyway, we do have a lot of moles in the garden, but what to do? They're aerating the soil. But that could also be another project in the future, that we have some help in the garden, because I don't think it's been mowed for a while, and now I don't think it can be mowed anymore. Anyway, is there anything else I should say about being involved with this? It's just lovely to have you here. Several times you might think, what's this non-doing, taking photos? I'm rejoicing. It's like, really, I mean, this is no small feat to have created a space like this where we can all come together. And when I see people coming to practice, I just feel like, this is the purpose, right, of having a space like this. And thank you all for supporting the growth of the Bhikkhuni Sangha. It's really precious, and I must say I felt very joyful seeing you all here, and the generosity, people bringing homemade cake that we can't eat, but you can eat. So that was lovely to see that some of you could enjoy it, and maybe there'll be some left for us tomorrow, who knows. And once again, thanking Bhante for your presence and friendship, and just being pretty cool, even if you do expect me to keep your talk titles the way you intended them to be. It's okay. It's not quite unconditional friendship, but it's kind of getting there, right? All right. So, with this said, I will hand over to Chi, who's going to say a few more words.
So thank you all very much.
Oh, hang on. They were going to clap me also. Were you going to clap? No, it was just the sound of the camera. There was no...
That's how we clap anyway.
Stick that on your here. Oh, okay. Get prepared for when you have to go.
So thank you all for coming and meditating. Here at the Anukampa Grove. It's been so lovely having you all throughout the day. I think it was my first day retreat, so again, I feel really privileged to be here with you all. So I would like to talk a little bit about dana, so offerings to the monastery. Usually there's a script, but I've had such a lovely day with you all, I forgot there's a script to read. But so there's a variety of ways to give offerings to the Anukampa Grove. So you can do this by standing order. For example, you can see the details of this online. You can offer food, meals for the monastics who have to eat once a day and before 12 noon. And you can offer items from the needed items list, which is also on the Anukampa website. all of these kind of offerings or any donations, like for example in the form of money, they'll all go towards like building things for the monastery, like kutis, any projects, and obviously establishing the first Bhikkhuni monastery in the UK.
Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Had you finished? No.
If you have any questions, yeah, please feel free to ask. There's an email, team@Anukampa, and you can find that on the leaflets or on the website as well.
Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.
And if I can just add to that as well, that there is a little list in the kitchen, you've probably seen it on the table. If you would like to be informed when we have, say, it's mainly opportunities to support the Sangha, so it might be like lifts, or it might be coming for these busy bees. If you're relatively local, in other words, like you could get up with a bit of notice. It might mean London, it might mean an hour or two away. You could be on our locals WhatsApp group if you wish. There may sometimes be updates from me to the general group, just saying where I am or what's happening from time to time. But otherwise, there's not a whole lot of activity on it. But if you later choose, oh, we're just seeing too many messages, it's disturbing my meditation, fine. No one's going to take offence if you drop off. But if you would like to keep in regular touch with any kind of local things, or sometimes if things are needed for the monastery, then that is great. And the other thing I just want to point out too is that whatever support is given to the place is not really for the building, it's actually to grow a Bhikkhuni Sangha. And we need teachers, we need people who can share the Dhamma, who are practicing the Dhamma and who have that ethical integrity that we see in Bhante, and hopefully the monastics who have had good training, you know. I hope that I am also one of them. I feel very, very blessed actually to receive incredible training in both in Myanmar and with Ajahn Brahm. And just to be practicing together and helping each other grow is really a beautiful thing. We're in our different forms, we're in our different bodies, different race, different background, different gender, sexuality, whatever, but we're all practicing together, and the human mind is the human mind. And I feel it a great privilege to learn with all of you. So, but we do need more female renunciates. It's the weakest leg of the fourfold assembly, as Bhante was saying at the retreat the other day, yesterday, I think. A chair has 4 legs. And this is the way the Buddha developed the, basically the framework or the vehicle for his teachings to prosper both in his lifetime and into the future, so that the teachings would last for a long time. So it was to have people who are practicing as lay women, lay men, bhikkhunis and bhikkhus, and who are well learned and accomplished in the teachings. That means enlightened people, because everyone can be enlightened, right? Yes? Is it true? And it was only after he'd accomplished this that he attained, if you want, or went into parinibbana. How can we say? He parinibbanaed. His khandhas ceased without remainder. So, yeah, I think the more we can give opportunities for people to practice the path the way the Buddha encouraged us to do, whether as lay people or monastics, then the more Dhamma is going to be in the world, and the world needs a lot of help, a lot of Dhamma. There are people who are suffering intensely in ways we can't even fathom, who are so far away from being able to access the Dhamma. You know, how can you access the Dhamma when you're in a flood or a fire, or your country's being, you know, under siege by your own military, or, you know, taken over by, I don't want to say what Bhante said, but kind of I will, fascism. So there's very little chance to practice, and this is why also we have to make the teachings available online. I think that's very important, because it may reach some of those places, you know, the more privileged places, but there are places it doesn't reach, and that's why we need to keep spreading through having more people practicing the Dhamma, more opportunities to hear the Dhamma. So thank you all again for being here. And yes, also please look on Sutta Central. Bhante Sujato has a project as well. to... Do you want to share?
Oh, whatever.
Better in your words.
Sutta Central. It's great. Read suttas there. I don't know. It's good enough.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
yep.
All right. Yeah. And you can find out about his projects there too.
Yep.
So, great. So we're not going to kick you out straight away. We're going to gently let you move from this room into the kitchen where there's still hot water and all sorts of things on the table, and you're welcome to stay a bit longer and have a little chat or meet each other a little bit. Take care. And bye to everyone online. Whoops, I didn't have my thingy on.
Oops. Bye-bye. Bye-bye online people.